in that fight of the people to basically keep a park. Welcome, Whitney, Sister Shiro, back to Poor People's Radio.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
We got you, babe. We got you loud and clear.
Yes, my name is Whitney Sparks. I'm a neighbor here at the park for years and Bay Area, lifelong resident. And in the short time that we have tonight, I just want to, in light of the recent California Supreme Court ruling, they sided with the academics um, with the UC, and so all eyes are on People's Park in Berkeley right now. We're not sure if they have 30 days in which they could start construction or not. But I just want to call attention to the fact that I think might have been obscured with the court case that we are not, People's Park community is not a NIMBY community. Like, we're not white. We're not all old, even though the park itself is legendary and old. We're not wealthy, but and we're not uneducated. Like, people really need to know the history behind People's Park. Nowadays people say things like Black Lives Matter. And when I was growing up, they called movements like that the quote unquote LA riots. And in the 1960s, they maybe didn't use a name for the collectivity, but it's the same movement against extrajudicial police killings of Black people. Here in the Bay Area and everywhere across Turtle Island, the park has been in resistance to that from day one, 4/20, 1969. And the UC has been against that organizing, that community, and that Black history legacy. This is not about housing. The lot was them taking housing away in the first place. And it's not about, it's not a solution. It's not a cure for anything that they complain about, for houselessness, for addiction. You don't just take away green space. You don't take away a unique ecology and say that that's going to help the community, or clean it up. That's absolutely absurd. This is about a specific type of repression that universities and academia does, like whether they call themselves private or public. This is not about the public good. It's not about learning. It's actually about quite the opposite. It's about private institutions and their investments in BlackRock and Blackstone and apartheid and genocide, and protecting those against grassroots, community, diverse, multi-generational, multicultural movement.
That part. Well, and I just want to lift you up, Sister Mama Warrior, truth teller, because I know you've been
That's
out
true.
there.
I am a mom.
Okay, that part. And you're still holding it down, like all us poor mamas warriors
Yeah,
do.
100%. Sorry, I was a bit late, y'all. Y'all
No,
tried
no,
to
no.
come early. I was like,
It's
wait a second.
so okay. Let's set those boundaries, babe. No, it's Poor People's Radio, so we always holding on by a thread, fam. Don't even trip.
Okay.
But maybe also you could back up a little bit and just
Sure.
please tell listeners, because I know you and I and many of us in this room and Poor were part of that terrifying moment with the freaking, the thousands of cops and the bizarre barricade by
Are
the.
you talking about in January, or are you talking about
I know
in May?
which one.
Now they've done it twice. Here,
Exactly.
right?
Well,
My
maybe you could
neighborhood
tell
is
listeners
absolutely
about
absurd.
both of them. Tell listeners about both of them.
I'm just really opposed to it. I've spoken several times on council. Berkeley City Council's meeting again tonight, and I figure I'm going to speak directly with the people because they are not listening.
That
They
part.
need to stop sending in thousands of cops in riot gear into our neighborhoods. It's absolutely not safe. To me personally, as like a Black solo mom and an organizer who's, like avidly pro-Palestine and against genocide and against cops for the abolition of the police completely, it feels almost like retaliation when they show up on my streets like that, and I can't walk with my kid. I no longer have a park, but we also can't meet at the corner to provide like harm reduction and mutual aid at the Dwight Triangle. They tried to put a lock on that, and then they're sending in thousands of cops in January to install the shipping container wall, before I forget, we have a petition officially now to remove the container wall. If
Nice.
you live in occupied Huchun, if you live in the East Bay, if you live in Berkeley, Oakland, Richmond, but especially Berkeley, but all over, because borders are fake and borders are fascist,
Thank you.
please go to tinyurl.com/ remove the wall Berkeley.
Yes.
Remove the wall Berkeley.
Oh,
tinyurl.com. Before I forget, because like I'd be liable, definitely.
it's
We want to
okay.
get that wall removed because it's not safe. It's not safe for pedestrians. It's of course ugly. It's super fascist. It's actually those shipping container style construction. It rattles during even small earthquakes. Like we've seen that. It's also the same type of wall that they put along the border with Mexico. Again, like I said, borders are fascist, and parts of the apartheid wall in Palestine as well. We do not
Mm.
need this in our neighborhood. It is actually traumatizing to have it. And it's also just super unsafe. Plus, it comes with 24/7 ex military, ex cop, mostly men, Apex, the same characters, the same mother truckers who are brutalizing students at UCLA,
Mm.
USC, and UC Santa Cruz. Apex is there with the police and with the UCPD every time. We're saying that Berkeley should not allow them to be patrolling and occupying our streets, and they need to remove the wall, regardless of the Supreme Court verdict or whatever they plan to do. The wall has got to go. So again, please, support us. Sign this petition. tinyurl.com. Remove the wall, Berkeley.
Ashay, Ashay, and I want to bring in D. Allen,
Okay.
Poor Magazine. Go ahead, D.
It sounds like occupied Palestine has somehow made it into your part of Berkeley with the existence of its own separation wall that blocks in People's Park and these, from the sounds of it, this paramilitary police force, this private security force.
Exactly.
That's right.
How many? I know that you probably could. Well, I'm assuming you could give us a ballpark, but I know there was this crazy amount of money spent on those pigs. Do you have a
Yeah, I
ballpark?
think.
Yeah, do you have a
15 million
figure
for
on
the
that?
wall, 7 million for the police. It's hundreds of thousands, or like going on $250,000 for Apex. You can definitely check the People's Park Instagram for the exact stats. They're also in the document that I just told y'all, the tinyurl/ remove the wall Berkeley. There's some stats about the numbers there. I also just want to like call out some ancestors, since we're here from the
Oh,
1960s.
Mateo.
These are the people who died. Like we had Rosebud who died for the park, and of course we had James Rector who died for the park, at the park, but there were ancestors who died to give birth in a way to the park. Just months before the park was established, Albert Joe Lithcomb was assassinated by SFPD. Months before that was Denzel Dowell was assassinated by Contra Costa PD. This is in the 60s, guys. And of course, there was Lil Bobby Hutton who was assassinated. And people were also galvanized by the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. at the same time. The Black Lives Matter, the movement against police killing Black people, essentially, is so old, and they don't want us to know that because that adds to our power. Like we've been saying this, and they've been resisting this. Not just the police resisting this, but even the university, right?
That part. I mean, it's a I mean, you know how I feel about academia in general. So right, it doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, any of these things. But I
The
will
land grab.
right. I will say they leveled up with with the border wall there on another level, and
That's true.
you feel me? And that I don't know. I'm not going to talk smack about that so-called chancellor, but I'm not sure that they're human. I'm just going to say it because there's something eerie.
At the end of the day, I'm not
just
going
saying.
to say how I know, but like having, talk to people who were very much like agitating against the chancellor and the future chancellor, for the university to divest from genocide. At the end of the day, it comes down to the regents and their investments, and those are assigned by the governor. We are living in a fascist state. Like, it is controlled by few Those are unelected positions, and then they're trying to say it's a public good or a public university. Give me a
Wow.
break. Don't get me started.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
ridiculous. They don't even have a local criterion for like a number of local Berkeley students to go to that university, and this is how they're treating the neighborhood. Like
That part.
it's just beyond.
And so let's just talk a minute about the politricksters in the so-called board of supervisors, aka their handmaidens in this desecration.
Oh, the city council,
Right? Those people.
They're meeting tonight, and I hope they're going to finally. And this is so sad, but I'm only saying it because I'm part of the community who like, and shout out to our community who has been mobilizing for months. But I think tonight they're going to actually talk about a ceasefire.
Wow.
Hopefully, because the city is supposed to bring it, which is like, okay, they're going to do it at the same time the UN is finally doing it. But hopefully,
Hey, it takes whatever. We'll just let that.
It's just like these crazy baby steps forward. And that's why I'm saying at the end of the day, we need to get the wall gone.
Down.
We don't know how long it's going to take them for them to realize that they're destroying a historic landmark of unique Berkeley Black history. It's insane that they will co-opt and put in their towers just as they have done with the Ohlone ancestors.
Replacing a landmark with a clan mark.
That part. Exactly. Well,
exactly.
Yes, this is one of the things, I want to just stop a second, though, too, and let people know these connections because Whitney has mentioned them a couple times. But, for listeners not in the Bay, this is the so-called politrickster council that has blocked a ceasefire resolution for Palestine. Shout out Nibaye to Palestine and free land and all of the places on Mom Earth, but has effectively blocked it for months, no matter what the people asked. And Whitney was one of those relatives showing up constantly, peacefully, begging, essentially, this body of so-called elected officials to just do this simple piece of paper that said we stood with a ceasefire, and they never did. So that we are at that point.
Not only didn't do that, to be clear, they wouldn't even put it on the agenda to even discuss it.
That part. And so, sadly, it does not surprise any of us that this is the same body that absolutely goes along with everything. That's right. That
the city should sue the university at this point. They should stand up for their residents and their people in our neighborhoods.
Period.
That's what needs to happen. It needed to happen before, but speaking of politricksters, shout out to Genocide Jesse, who lied to get elected.
Genocide Jesse! Wait. No. Stop the presses. Whitney just called
did
it.
Y'all not know that?
Whitney just called it.
Exactly. Who is this Genocide
Jesse?
Jesse?
The politrickster mayor.
Jesse Argine.
Jesse Argine. It's just that I love you for naming that because bruh comes on anything and I'm like ready to throw up and scream at the same time. So thank you. But what did Genocide Jesse do this time?
He lied about saying that the park should be protected, and he received funds just the same way he received funds from the Zionist group, and that's why he won't allow ceasefire to be discussed. He's received funds from developers who want to develop here on the park, and he changed his tune after he was elected in part because he said he would protect the park.
That's right, he did. Welcome to Hippocrazy Berkeley, relatives.
Exactly.
Listen.
So we can't expect too much from them, but we can't continue to apply pressure, and that means something because if we hadn't done that, I'm going to stop with the nicknames, but so and so wouldn't have stepped down.
Exactly. I love it. If you can't laugh through it, you can't live through it, relatives. So let's be real. Listen, fam, how do people follow you on Instascam? And
oh yes, please do support. The best place, like some of the notes that I was sharing with you, I've also tried to share with the other mainstream media, and I don't know if they're just not trying to hear it. One reporter from KQED, and I don't mind saying this because they need to know. She did not know who Lil Bobby Hutton is.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no,
But
no.
yeah, if
Oh,
y'all
no.
don't know who that is, listeners, okay, go Google it. But if you are getting money for a media company, KQED, you don't in the Bay Area, talking
No.
about People's Park and taking up my time.
No,
you
no,
don't.
no.
You never heard of Lil Bobby Hutton?
No, that's not
What's
even.
wrong with you?
She
But I
probably
compiled
hasn't
a
even
lot
heard
these
of Black
notes.
Panthers either.
That part.
It's ridiculous. I compiled a lot of these notes. Listening to the Black Panthers is an honor and privilege every time we get to do that. They're still here.
That's
And
right.
I put them up. If I hadn't had these notes, I wouldn't be able to, speak to you even right now
That part.
about this stuff. And you can check that on my Patreon. I just finally got over it and uploaded it to share that. It's patreon.com/Whitney Sparks. It's a massive, like almost 10,000 word thing. I'm sorry about that.
It's
But
okay.
at least the research is there.
That part.
You know?
Patreon.
And you can support me.
Patreon.com, Whitney Sparks. Support this
And
sis.
support the park. The People's Park Venmo is in the People's Park Instagram at People's Park Berkeley. And of course, sign the petition, please. tinyurl.com. Remove the wall, Berkeley.
Oh, we love you, Whitney. Talk to you real soon.
Love you too. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.